Good morning. Hello, Sandy. Hi, Christine. Hi, Debbie. Hi, Connie. It's good to have you here. Hi, Marty. Welcome. Hi, Cindy. Cindy from Kentucky. I know you. And Kathy and Debbie, welcome. Oh my goodness. Yeah, hi. Somebody was mentioning, who was it here? Debbie said, oh, I saw that you were on, but there was no sound or nothing. That's because there's just a lot of gears going here. First of all, my brain. That takes a lot of energy. Secondly, I have to put the phone in the holder and get it all started. And then I have to diddle around with my iPad and try to get that going, because if I don't kind of watch myself while I'm doing these Facebook Lives, sometimes I wouldn't know exactly where to put something on the screen. So even though it's a little bit delayed, that's why I do that. So yes, there's always going to be probably about a 45-second delay from the time I turn my camera on until the time I get in the picture. And then sometimes I just think there's delays just randomly because it's Facebook. And you never know about internet and things like that. So hello, Janine. Janine's in my downline. Yay! Oh goodness, Monique is here. Thank you. Oh, you guys are sharing already. You don't even know what I'm giving away, but it's going to be good. You're going to love it. All right. Oh my goodness. Well, I can start out by telling you I'm trying to cut back on coffee. What? Yes, that's hard to believe. But the fact is, I have a lot of tea in the house, and if I don't drink some of this tea, I'm afraid that it's going to go bad. I was a part of a tea club, and so once a month for about 6 months, I got 2 kinds of teas in the mail, and my goodness, if I don't start drinking tea, we're going to have tea until the day I die, and so I need to cut back a bit on coffee and drink tea. So I found a new favorite tea, and that's what I'm going to share as making me happy today. And it's Earl Grey, and I usually put cream in it, and it's so good. So I'm drinking it in a new mug from Caribou. It's a little bear. He's ice fishing. Hopefully you can see this. It's so cute. Every time I go into Caribou, they have new mugs, and I don't know, their marketing department is amazing. But this is Minnesota for you, sitting out on the lake, drilling a hole, hoping for a fish to go by. And then on the other side, it's perfect for this weekend because it says bear the cold, and I don't think there could be much of a colder weekend we have in store for us. Mostly below 0 temps, I think, especially as we go up north. So yikes. So I got some new fleece-lined jeans for my birthday. That's what a Minnesota girl gets excited about. So I'm pretty happy about that. And then I got a new kind of woogie. We call them woogies in our house, but they're actually sweaters. So I have a new kind of a running around sweater that I'm going to wear this weekend with my new fleece lined jeans. All right, so enough chit chat. We have lots of people on right now. So I think I'm going to flip the camera down and we'll show you, we'll show you a card I got in the mail. So let's do that. Okay, here's the card I got in the mail this past week, and it was a thank you card from one of my customers. Thank you so much, Rosemary Johnson. She created this really pretty country home card, and the name escapes me, but she used some designer series paper. Oh, what was it called? It's coming to me. Country Lane designer series paper. She put some jute twine on here. She's got a nice big circle. And I'm going to try and hold this up to the camera because she put some Wink of Stella on this galvanized container, and it's so sparkly and pretty. I just love it. So hopefully you can see a little bit of that Stella. I love Wink of Stella. It really adds a lot. I love it on cards when I see it, but I forget to use it myself. But that's just one of those things. So thank you, Rosemary. I love my card. All right, so let's show you what we're doing today. Oh no, where did they go? Here's one. So the first card we're going to make is this one. Yes, not the advertised pictures, but I promise this will not take long, and it's a good introduction to some of the things that we're going to be using on this Facebook Live. And I want to share with you where I got the idea from to make this card. And it's from the Happiness Blooms product suite. This is our Occasions holiday catalog. And they made one with, I don't know if it was Blueberry Bushel or Night of Navy. It was one of those 3.5 by 5 inch cards, and I wanted to make it a full-size card. And then I wanted to change the colors up. But basically, this is where I got the idea right out of the catalog. And I am going to show you right now how to make that card. It's really easy and simple, and it will go quickly. So we're going to use the Bloom by Bloom bundle. So you can get just the stamp set, or you can purchase the bundle where you save 10%, and along with the stamp set, you can get these cute little punches that kind of coordinate with the stamp set. So I'm going to be using this little punch out of the punch set, and then we are only going to be using this tiny little stamp on this first card. But when we move along to the second and third cards that we're doing today, we're going to be using, you know, a couple more stamps. So I'm going to set this aside for the moment, and we'll go ahead and get started with this. So the first thing that I did was I was trying to figure out, you know, how I could do this, because I wanted to make sure my flowers look just right. And let me grab out here what we're doing. So I start with a base card, and this base card is cut at 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. This is one of our in colors called Call Me Clover. So I think this birthday card is going to be super nice for March birthdays, because March is kind of a green month. We really like to see greens when it comes to March in Minnesota, because we're getting really tired of white and brown. So this will be a great card for that. So I already have this prepared, and the inside panel looks like this, and I'm also using the Well Said stamp set. So Well Said, well, as you can imagine, it has a lot of sentiments and a lot of just single words, and so you can kind of put them together. Sort of find this exhausting to try and figure out what works with what, but if I just take a deep breath, calm down, and just gently read each of the items, I do get through it, and I do manage to find things that match. It's just easier sometimes to just pick something that's already made, but this requires you to think a bit. However, on the bright side, that gives you a lot of flexibility. So we are going to use one of the little sets in there. It says, the best thing about today is you, which I think is a lovely birthday sentiment, because it's really true. I mean, that's what the birthday is all about. And we are going to take a sentiment, or our panel here, that's 4 by 5 1/4, and we're going to ink this up with Call Me Clover ink. So I'm just going to set this up here, not quite a third of the way down. And we are going to take that cute little flower thing, and that's a photopolymer, so we want to make sure that we are stamping. Oh dear, did I bring it? We want to make sure we are stamping with a mat, and I don't see my mat. I will be back in a sec. I really don't like stamping without a mat with photopolymer, because it's tricky. You never know, and you want to make sure that it turns out nice. So we're just going to pop a few flowers on here, and that looks pretty good. Then we're going to take a 1/2 inch strip of this designer series paper, and we are using the Happiness Blooms designer series paper, and that's one of the coordinating products in this product suite for the Happiness Blooms product suite. And it's pretty. It's got some bright colors in it, very springy, quite a few bold things. So I wasn't really quite sure how I wanted to work with it. So when there's a lot of boldness going on, I mean, I can deal with bold stamps, but sometimes bold papers sort of take me by surprise, and I don't really know what to do with them. Well, in that case, just go to your catalog and see how Stampin' Up! Uses it. And that's what I did, and so that's how I got the idea for this card. So we're going to take a 1/2 inch strip, and basically all I did was make sure that my flower fit onto this 1/2 inch strip. So I basically cut it to the size of the flower. And then I'm going to take some multi-purpose liquid glue right here along the bottom, and we're just going to set this in, and then we can wiggle it kind of into place like this. And then we're going to flip it over. Oh no, don't tell me. Oh yes, I have it here. thought I was going to have to jump up again. Here's my scissors, and we're just going to trim this even. Sometimes I like to just do strips, and that way I don't have to be so worried about cutting super precisely. All right, so we're going to finish off the inside panel here with a little bit of snail on the top of this panel. We're just going to set this in like so, making sure all the borders are even and the inside panel is done. So now let's work on the outside panel, and I'm going to grab my bone folder here just because I like it to lay flat for us. And let's look at what we're doing on this. So we are going to need, well, it looks like we need a piece of Whisper White scrap, which I have right here. And then we're going to stamp Happy Birthday on this scrap paper. So there's the happy. And then here's the birthday. Whoops, and I'm going to put this over here so I don't accidentally get ink on it. And then we're going to grab a punch, and this is our pretty label punch. And we're going to set this in here and just punch it out. So that's all there is to that. Set the punch aside. And then we can add some dimensionals to it, which we might as well do right now. So I'm going to grab my dimensionals. So meanwhile, I'm going to peek at what everyone's saying. Yes, it's raining in Colorado. Well, right here it's pretty cloudy outside my window. I would imagine, I mean, it's pretty cold out. I would think it'd be even colder if it was sunny because we have that big high pressure, I believe, that's causing the temperatures to drop like that. So I'm just going to set this aside a minute because I don't want to mess around with it, especially since I have all of the adhesive pieces off. Now I have my little strip of paper that's going to go on the outside of this card, and actually I did measure it out for you because some people just really want the measurement. So it's 1 7/8 by 4 3/4. But that's not really how I cut it. I paid no attention to measurements at all because all I did is try to make sure that I had 4 flowers going across and 10 flowers going to the top. And I didn't want to cut any flowers off. I wanted full flowers all the way around. So I basically did it 4 flowers by 10 flowers. And what you want to do next is glue that onto the front of your card. So we will do that. We're just going to set this in so that all 3 borders here on the top and the right side are about even. And that looks good. All right, so what's the next thing to do? Then we're going to take a piece of Call Me Clover scrap, and we're going to punch out 3 of these cute little flowers. So, whoops, I got the wrong flower here. Let me grab the other one. 1, 2, 3. There we go. So we got all the flowers punched out, and we're going to put mini dimensionals on these. So let me get them out here. I'm going to grab these little tiny mini dimensionals. I'm starting a new pack today, so they're kind of hard to get out when they're brand new. I'm just going to set them right in the middle. Oh, how I love mini dimensionals. Do all of you have mini dimensionals? They're kind of an essential part of the craft studio now that we have them, because we don't have to sit around and cut regular size dimensionals into little tiny pieces. So these are pretty awesome. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my sentiment, and I figure, you know, I shouldn't have taken all those little pieces off right away. But I did, so we'll just deal with it. So I'm thinking it's going to go about right here. And I'm going to grab, and I do think I need a Stampin' mat. So I'm going to grab my Stampin' mat. Oh, I see my other Stampin' mat now on the table. It was sitting under something, so I did have it with me all along. Silly me. Okay, so here it is. And we're just going to take this little flower because I kind of want to know where this needs to go. So I'm just going to stamp him up here, and then I think I probably should have done this before I put all this down. So we just want a few little flowers just to kind of accentuate everything. Then I'm going to get some Call Me Clover 1/8 inch grosgrain ribbon, and we're going to cut a little bit of it off, probably only about 3 inches. And how do you get this so that it kind of peeks out? So we want it to look about like this. So I say glue dots to the rescue. So I just take my glue dots and I'm going to put one glue dot right in the middle of this ribbon, and then I can just fold that top over and it catches. See? So I sort of have the little V shape already created just by putting a glue dot in the middle. Then I'm going to put a glue dot on the bottom, and that's all you really need. So then you can just set it about where you think you want it, which at this point, I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to put my birthday down, my happy birthday, and I think that looks pretty good right there. Then I can take this little guy and I'll just sort of, well, I probably should have put this one down first. There we go. I can just lift that up and slip him under right where I want it. So that's pretty cute, isn't it? Oh, look at all the little hearts. Thank you, guys. All right, then I'm going to take off the very small little peelies from these mini dimensionals. And then I will grab, possibly, if I have it here at the table, I will grab a paper piercing tool and I will just grab one of these little flowers. And I think I'm going to put the first flower right here, and I just want to cover it right over the top of those flowers in the designer series paper. And then we'll take the second one. We'll maybe put that right here. That looks good. And then one more, and I think we'll set that maybe right here. So I don't know, wherever it looks good to you is where it needs to go. And that's pretty cute. And now for the giveaway. So how do you get in the giveaway? Yay! This is what I'm giving away, the Happiness Blooms enamel dots. I'm going to cut it in half and I'll mail out a card of your choice. Since I'm making 3 cards, you guys can go ahead and pick whichever of the 3 you want me to mail to you. But I'll cut this in half and I will give a half a pack of Happiness Blooms enamels. So you guys can get into the drawing very easily. All you have to do is share this video on your timeline, either now or, you know, all the way through Tuesday morning, I think, will be when I do the drawing. So you have lots of time to get in on this drawing. And then the other way besides sharing is to comment. So you can just, you know, let me know that you're watching, where you're watching from, what the weather's like, whatever you want to talk about. All right, so we are going to take the enamels, and I have some right here that are already open. And I'm just going to grab off some of these green ones. And again, I'm just using my paper piercing tool. You could also use your take your pick tool. The spatula side of it works well, but my paper piercing tool is just a tad handier, so that's what I'm using today. I'm gonna set this right here. And there it is, the card is complete. Isn't it adorable? It's so cute and it's so simple, and I think it would work for a guy card as well. A guy that likes flowers possibly. But the flowers are pretty, you know, non-intrusive. They're not like in your face girl flowers, if you know what I mean. So they're pretty nice. So that's the first card. So I'm gonna set that aside. Now let's work on the second card, which is going to be this one. And let me get some of this green ink out of the way so I don't get it onto my project. All right, so let's see here. So we are now graduating into, again, we're going to use the Well Said set. You can see it right here. And of course, we're going to be using the Bloom by Bloom. So let me grab the little sheet here that I have, because there's a few things we're going to need to do. All right, so let me remind you of the card base size, and let me show you what the inside looks like. Here it is. Isn't that cool? So one of the trends right now, if you've noticed in the advertising world or just out there in fashion or wherever you see advertisements, a lot of people are cutting words apart and putting them down. And so that's what I'm doing with this one. I'm just cutting some words apart. So we need to stamp those words, and we're going to be stamping them just onto a scrap of powder pink paper. So this is powder pink. And I'm going to grab the, uh-oh, my desk is getting a little full here, but I'm going to grab the lovely lipsticks. I'm just going to open this up, and we're going to do Sending Best Wishes, and we are going to do Happy Birthday. So I have to grab the Happy Birthday that we used in the previous card, which has green ink on, so you know I need to clean it off. So I'm going to get my Simply Chamois, and we are just going to clean off this green ink. No big deal, and it works really well. Just keep this chamois nice and moist, and it will work for you for several days before you even have to rinse it out. I love it. All right, so now we're going to stamp all this in lovely lipstick. And it doesn't really matter, really, which order you stamp them in, because they're all going to get cut out individually. So we'll just stamp them along a little line. Maybe up here too. Sending Best Wishes. There we go. So that was pretty easy, wasn't it? Let me get this all in. Okie doke. So we've got that ready to go. Now the next thing we need to do is stamp the flowers. So I'm going to stamp the flowers for this card, and also, uh-oh, I just dropped something on the floor. I'm going to stamp the flowers for both cards at the same time. Okay? So what you're going to need is a piece of scrap, and let me show you how to do this. So you are going to take, and this is Whisper White scrap, by the way. So you've got your lovely lipstick, and you're going to take, oh, and you do need your Stampin' mat. So you're going to ink up that large flower from Bloom by Bloom, and you're going to stamp it once, and then twice. So one of these flowers will be used for one card, one of the flowers will be used for the other card. I guess I should be moving up here so you can see what I'm doing. Sorry about that, guys. All right, then we're gonna do the same thing with the other flower, the smaller flower. We're gonna stamp it full strength. Then we're gonna move it over and stamp the second generation. And then these two will be layered, and these two will be layered. And that's all there is to it. So I'm gonna set these aside because they have to be cut out. And I think we're ready to roll here. So I'm going to just quickly cut these out, and I am actually cutting these out. However, I did pre-cut the little flowers because, I mean, that takes a little longer because they're not just straight lines. These I can do really quickly because they are just straight lines. So I'm cutting out the birthday, and I'm using a paper snip. Stampin' Up! Sells really nice scissors, and I do like them. So I use them a lot, and they're really sharp. And in fact, what I do is one paper snips I reserve for cutting anything, so paper specifically. And then the other paper snips I put a ribbon on, and I use it only for ribbon cutting. So there's our happy birthday. Is there anything we can do to get some things out of the way? Let's do this. Let's do our inside panel and get that done. So what we want to do now is, oh, it does have a little extra here, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm going to show you a different way. All right, so we have the 4 by 5 1/4 inch panel for the inside, and I'm going to grab a little scrap because this is probably going to bleed off, and we're going to take a new ink color here. Let me get this in the picture. So we've got a Granny Apple Green, and Granny Apple Green and lovely lipstick are a really nice color combination. So we're just going to ink up this big stem, and we're going to set it here, and this is the inside panel, so we're just going to set it just like this. Beautiful. And then we're going to take our flowers that we were using, and we're going to use the lovely lipstick again, and we are going to stamp the first flower in second generation. So we're going to stamp it off once, and then we'll just stamp it right here. There it is, all gorgeous. And then we're going to stamp this right over the top as a first generation image. And that just gives it a little variation. Beautiful. All right, and it'll look even more impressive once it dries. Then we're going to take these little guys here, and I'm just going to quickly cut these out. So we've got our sending best wishes, and we're going to do this right here on the inside, and we'll probably just glue these down because it's just so easy to just drop a little bit of glue on these. So how many of you have looked at that set that's called Well Said and wondered about it? It is a little expensive. I'm not sure right off the top of my head how much it was. But you know, with the demonstrator discount, I usually am not hesitating too much because in addition to our discount, depending on the volume that you do as a demonstrator, you can get what are called volume rebates, which makes your products cost even less. And so when I saw it, I knew I had to have it. And one of the reasons I had to have the bundle is because it comes with all of these fantastic word thinlets that are amazing and awesome, and we'll be using those on the next card. So I'm excited to give you a bit of a closer peek of that. All right. Oh yes, Karen, I totally get it. She said, it's a little frightening to see all those words. You know, I was kind of the same way. I don't like to think that hard, and sometimes, you know, thinking is tough on the brain. Sometimes I just like everything to sort of be figured out for me. And so that's what I'm kind of doing here today, is helping you guys come up with some good ideas so you don't even have to figure it out. You can just copy me. And I take that as the highest form of flattery. So thank you for all of those that do copy me. I love it. So now we're just going to put down our best wishes. And there we go. Hi, Teresa. Teresa's one of my customers from Texas. It's great to have you here. Welcome. So here we have sending best wishes, and that's all we have to do. So we just kind of scattered it around on the front or on the inside panel of our card. Then we can just take our snail, and we'll just put a little snail here at the top, and we will get our Granny Apple Green 5.5 by 8.5 scored at 4 1/4 card base. We will go ahead and put this on the inside panel. And it looks so nice. I love it. Okay, so now let's work on the outside panel. So the outside panel, we have another panel of Granny Apple Green, and this is 4 by 5 1/4, and we're going to bring the Big Shot machine into the photo. So let me grab that. And I have the magnetic platform here, so we might as well use that first. I have a scrap of Whisper White. You want it just big enough to work with the rectangle framelets. Now, many of you know that I am pretty excited about the rectangular framelets. I have them right here, and I've been using them on quite a few different cards. So I have my magnetic platform, my cut plate, my paper, my rectangular die, and then I'm just putting another cut plate over the top, and I can run it through, and then I'll take it out, and this is what we're going to be doing our stamping on. So I'm going to set that aside. And then the other thing we want to do is we're going to change this out. Let me grab the other platform here. We've got just the regular Big Shot platform. So when you buy the Big Shot, this is what it comes with. This is where we're going to run our folder through. So there's a new Stampin' Up! Folder that's in this product suite, and it's called Dot to Dot. So we're going to take this 4 inch by 5 1/4 inch Granny Apple Green. We're going to put it in here. And then we're going to just add another cut plate here over the top. And we're going to run it through the Big Shot. Just like so. And we have, oh my goodness, is this pretty or what? All of these cute dots. And I love the name, Dot to Dot. I think that's so clever because for as many dots as there are, it really is appropriate that it's called Dot to Dot. All right, so let me straighten everything out here. Got kind of all willy wonky. And for this now, we're going to need a ribbon wrap. So let me check my original here so I remember what I'm doing. Yes, I'm going to grab this is called the All My Love ribbon combo. It's part of that combo in the, I don't know if it's the All My Love product suite or what it's called, but it's towards the beginning of the book where all the Valentines are in our 2019 occasions catalog. And so you get 5 yards of a Flirty Flamingo sheer ribbon that's about 1/8 inch wide, and then you have something that looks like it's about 3/4. Is it 3/4? I don't know if it says here or not. It's a little wider than a 1/2 inch though, maybe 5/8. But it's the lovely lipstick, and so that's the one we're going to use on this card because it's going to coordinate so well with what we're doing. So we're just going to trim this off so it's a little bit wider than where we have all of our dots. And then we're just going to fold the ends back, and using Scotch tape, we are going to just tape this in place around to the back side. So here it is. Oh, it's so pretty. I just love it. All right. Here we go. There it is. Isn't it nice? Oh my goodness, I just love this. Okay, so stop being so excited over silly things. But you know, that's what gets us crazy about stamping. Now we are going to take our mat here, and again I'm going to use a piece of scrap paper. Well, actually no, maybe I'm not. I think I can do this without it. So I've got that rectangular cutout that we did, and I've got my happy birthday that we're going to be putting at the bottom from the Well Said stamp set. So I'm just going to kind of put that there so I know about where it's going to be. And then I'm going to grab that Granny Apple Green ink again along with this stem, and we're going to ink that up in the Granny Apple Green. And then we're just going to set this in about where we think we want it. So it's okay if it bleeds off a little bit, but I don't think it has to. So now we're just setting it here. We're letting the ink kind of grab onto the paper. Then we can lift it away. And it's perfect, just like that, perfection. All right, then I think we'll just go ahead and glue these little guys on because we might as well get them out of the way. So here's the happy. And remember, when you're gluing on just little individual words, you want to kind of make them a little tilty so they add a little interest to your card. So this looks pretty good. All right, so here we have the happy birthday. Then we're going to take these that I've pre-cut. The large one, you use second generation image. And so I'm just going to add a little snail down here at the bottom. And we're going to set this right here. So it's going to come off the top a little bit, and that's okay. And then this one we're going to put on dimensionals. So I'm going to grab my dimensionals. We'll just add it right here. And we're going to set this right here at the bottom, just like so. Isn't that beautiful? So there's nothing to it really. And then we're going to add well, actually, let's go ahead and do this. Let's add glue to the back of this and put it right onto our card base. So I have my multi-purpose liquid glue, and I just did a nice rectangle around it. Yep, I want to make sure I've got it right side up, not upside down. So all that looks good. And then we're going to take this one, we're going to add some dimensionals to the back. So I'm adding a dimensional right up here where the flower is because I want my flower to be nice and sturdy. And then we can just put them in here. So, oh good, it's time to see a little bit about what you guys are chatting about. Oh, thank you. The colors are lovely. I agree. Lovely lipstick and Granny Apple Green are just fun colors to put together and work with. And all right, so thank you again everybody for sharing, for making comments. I will not be doing a Facebook Live on Monday. Typically I do videos on Monday and Fridays, but not this next Monday. So you will see me back here doing a video on Friday, the the 25th, I believe. So a week from today, I'll be back doing a video, and I'm going to show you the Valentine card video that I made some Valentines for my downline. So that looks pretty. I don't like it where it's at, so I'm going to pull it up. I want to bring the bottom up just a little higher because I think I got this ribbon just a tad too high. So I want to make sure the ribbon is about a third of the way up, or just a little over the third of the way up. There we go. I like this better. All right, now we can take another length of ribbon, and we'll go with about 5.5 inches. We want a little play with this. We're going to run it underneath, and we are going to tie it off. Actually, I'm going to go like this. Not that there's really a front or a back. It's probably all my imagination. All right, there we go. So we have our tied off ribbon, and it's so pretty. So now you can just cut this off at an angle, and you've got your really cute ribbon. Isn't that darling? Oh my goodness, I just love it. And we have to do the crowning touch, which is going to be with, let me grab them here, our Happiness Blooms enamel dots. And so I'm just going to take 3 dots, and these are the bright, lovely lipstick ones. I'm going to put one here by the happy, one up here by the flower, and then I think one more up here by the flower. So there we go. Isn't that the crowning touch? Isn't it lovely? So thank you so much for all the hearts. I just love it. I appreciate it. All right, so let's go ahead now and do this last card, and it's very similar. So I did do some of the things in advance because you just saw me do them. So I did pre-emboss the dots for this next card, and I also went ahead and cut another rectangular section for this card. Let me see what else I did here. Well, and I'm running out of stickers, so let me grab some stickers so you have the measurements. So all of my cards are using 5.5 by 8.5 today. All right, so I think we're ready to go with putting together this one. Let's straighten out this. And we are now going to be using the Wonderful Words. Well, I don't know if it's called Wonderful Words. I honestly don't know what it's called. But if you buy the bundle with Well Said, you get all of these fabulous framelits that look like this, all these fabulous words. And so you can put them together with the Well Said sentiments and make really cool looking cards, which is about what we're going to do. And so, and remember that you also want to stamp 1 flower full strength and 1 flower partial strength. So first generation, second generation, and I did that. And I have those also cut out and ready to go for this card. And so let's go ahead and get rolling. So the first thing that we are going to do, let me get some of this out of the way, is I think we should do our inside panel again. And then you'll notice that Sending Best Wishes and Happy Birthday all use those framelits that come with the Well Said bundle. And so we need to cut that out with the Big Shot. So I'm going to bring the Big Shot in, and we are using, and I did prepare this in advance. So as you know, whenever you're using very skinny little things that would be hard to put glue on, this is a perfect time to get out your Sizzix adhesive sheets. Stampin' Up! Calls them multi-purpose adhesive sheets in the catalog, and I put a little of this adhesive onto this small piece of lovely lipstick. And so this is where the sticky part is. So when you do this, you want to make sure that you put your words like this somewhere on the front, and then the back will have the sticky part that you can put onto the card. And then you don't have to try to glue it onto the card, because that is a real problem sometimes and can be quite messy. So we're going to get the Big Shot machine back into the photo, and I'm going to grab my magnetic platform, provided I can find it. Yes, here it is. So here's my magnetic platform. I'm going to put my cut plate down, and then I'm going to put my paper down that has the multi-purpose adhesive sheets on the back. And I'm putting it towards the side of the Big Shot machine because you're going to get the strongest pressure, not so much through the middle, but on each of the sides. And so I want pretty good pressure because this is a pretty intricate cut. Then I'm going to take my top sheet, my top non-cut plate, because I don't usually cut with this. I'm going to, I saw it move a little bit, so I'm going to just move this down a hair. There we go. Now we're going to try it again. That's one good thing about having a non-cut plate at the top, is then you can kind of see if anything is wiggling around as you're using the Big Shot. All right, so it's ready to go. So here it is, and I can flip it over and just double check on the back and make sure everything looks like it's cut through. And it is, so it will be no problem to use that. So let me put the Big Shot aside. Let's get our card out here again. And we are actually going to set this card in the landscape position. So we have the 5.5 by 8.5 scored at 4 1/4. And I'm going to grab my bone folder here and just get this so that it stays nice and flat for us. And then we're going to work on the inside part of us first. So we have Whisper White 4 by 5 1/4. And we are going to stamp that flower again. And so I am going to grab my Stampin' mat, and I'm going to grab my ink, which is Granny Apple Green, and my little stem piece for the flower. And this time we're just going to set it in like this. So I don't need the whole entire stem showing, because otherwise that's going to interfere with what I want to say up here. So we're just putting a partial image of the stem here. And then we're going to take the flower, and we have our lovely lipstick, and we're just going to use one image of the flower. So we're just going to stamp this right here. And give it a second, and there it is. Isn't that gorgeous? These are such fun stamps to work with. All right, now we can go ahead and we can stamp Sending Best. So let me find those stamps. So I've got the Sending. We're going to stamp this right here. Sending. Oh, I have a little tiny boo-boo on there, but not enough to start over. And then we'll do Best right under it. There we are. Sending Best, and now we need Wishes. So here is a Wishes that I pre-cut, and let me grab this little, there's a little, there we go. And I already took the backing off, and so now I'm going to set this right here underneath the Best, and it's going to go across. All right, but we're missing an eye. So I very carefully, let me show you what I did. I very carefully kept those the little dots on the eyes, because I want to put those onto my card. So I can just kind of edge off. Oh, this is where it gets tricky, I tell you what. This is probably going to take the longest of everything that you do with this card. All right, so now I've got my dot, and I'm going to set it right there, and the paper piercing tool kind of helped me out because it's got a nice sharp point. So now we have our Wishes dotted, and we're ready to go. So the inside of this can be put into the inside of our card. And then we're just going to set this in just like this. And look at that. So the inside panel is done, and it looks so pretty. Now let's finish the outside panel. So this we can glue directly on because we don't have a ribbon wrap. So I'm just going to use some multi-purpose liquid glue all the way around. And we can set this right here. Again, this is our dot-to-dot folder. And then I did pre-cut this, and so let's do our stamping. So we are going to, again, get the Granny Apple Green ink, and we're going to get this leaf image from Bloom to Bloom, or Bloom by Bloom, I guess. And we're going to set this so that the top of the leaf is pretty much coming off the paper, because that way you'll know how high to go with it, because we want our flower to go off the end there. So then we can grab that flower, and we're just going to put a little bit of snail here at the bottom. And we're going to set this right here. And then we'll take this little flower, it's the one that's been stamped second generation, and we're going to grab a dimensional for that one. And then we're going to set this right over the top, just like so. I just love those kind of, you know, where you double up your flowers and get that sort of two-toned look going on. I think it looks really neat. Then we are going to take our ribbon again, and we are going to trim, I don't know, probably about 3 inches here, and then another 3 inches here. And then we are going to get the Scotch tape. And we're going to do a weird little ribbon wrap. So we're going to fold it like this, so it's sort of folded into a V. Oh, you know what? Before I do that, I better get all of this done here. Otherwise, the stamping could mess up. So on the inside of this card, I did sending best wishes, and I stamped it all in lovely lipstick. And then on the outside, I took the happy and stamped it in Granny Apple Green. I think I want it in lovely lipstick. So I'm going to take the happy, but I'm not going to stamp that until I get my birthday down, because I'm not quite sure where that I is going to go with the birthday, and I don't want that messing up anything. So let me grab that first. So I've got my birthday here. I'm going to pull away this little adhesive backing from the multi-purpose sheets. And then we're going to set this right here onto this card. So if you don't press it too hard, if you don't burnish it down, you do have a little bit of wiggle room. But I think this looks good. So I'm going to flip it over, burnish that down good. And now I'm going to stamp my happy. Well, actually, no, I'm going to get this little eye on, because I don't want to not have the eye. So again, you have to take that tiny little piece of adhesive off this little tiny dot, which is kind of annoyingly hard to do, especially when you have fake nails like I do. I think those of you without fake nails will probably just be able to whip that off no problem. So now I have it on my paper piercing tool, and I'm just going to set it right here onto the birthday, because it doesn't look right without the eye. At least that's my opinion. So here it is. And we're going to flip this, oh, well, now what are we going to do? Now we're going to do those little ribbon sort of, I don't know, V-like things on the edges. So we're just going to take one and put it here towards the bottom. So get that the way you want it to look. We're just having a little bit stick out. So that looks pretty good. Then, guess of course, we're going to use some Scotch tape to hold that all together. And then we're going to do the same thing on this side. So again, just do a little V-like shape. And you're going to put it over on this side. And I think that looks pretty good. So we're going to flip it over. We're going to add Scotch tape just to hold it all in place. And then if you add dimensionals in those spots, that just adds a little bit more to holding it in place. So again, I'm going to put dimensionals on the flower, because I want my flower nice and perky. I don't want him getting all dredged down there without dimensionals. There we go. So now we can just go ahead, pull all the little topper things off the dimensional packs. Oh, that always means I have a little time to look at what's happening on the comments here. Hi, Patty. Oh, I hope you're recovering well. She had back surgery recently. Patty's in my downline and is recovering from back surgery. Oh my goodness. So it's nice to have you join us, Patty. I know it can get kind of boring when you're just sitting around. Oh shoot, I forgot to stamp the happy. I bet some of you were out there in stamp land yelling, don't forget to stamp the happy. I did. Let me see if I can do it without messing this up too bad. So I'm just going to put the happy about right here. Let's hope it works. It sort of worked. I can go in with a marker and fix that little spot where it's not perfect. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to set this here on our card. Make sure that the flower is within the card. And there it is. Isn't it pretty? So here's the second card that we did, and I just love it. So how do you get in on the drawing? You just share this video, or you make comments and let me know what you think, and then you'll be in the drawing, and I'm going to be giving away a half pack to each person of the Happiness Balloons enamel dots. I am going to jump onto the computer and put down all the supplies for how to make these cards, or not actually how to make the cards, but all the supplies I used in making these cards. Oh boy, I forgot the enamel dots. Let me quickly do that. But once I get that up, then for those of you that want to purchase this, you'll have all of the supplies at your fingertips over on my Facebook page so that you can run over to my online store and get some goodies for yourself. And two, if you purchase at least $50, then you get the celebration items that Stampin' Up! Is promoting right now during celebration. So here's a couple cards that we made, and another couple cards that we made today. Oh, they're so pretty. And then finally, where's the other cards? We made other cards too. We made these two cards today. So 3 different cards, all using Bloom by Bloom and Well Said bundles. So thank you everyone so much for being on this Facebook Live presentation. I truly appreciate it. You guys are awesome. And I'll be back in a week to share Valentine cards with you on Friday the 25th. So we'll see you then. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.